Okay, so the competition. The competition is a 46-hour event that will take place on the 7th to the 9th of September all around Australia. In Queensland, we have 10 locations this year. This is a massive increase. We welcome Gladstone, Longreach, and Townsville to joining us this year. Our Brisbane event is taking place at the University of Queensland. Logan and Redlands is taking place at the Kingston Butter Factory. Ipswich at Fire Station 101. Gold Coast at the Griffith University. Sunshine Coast at the University of the Sunshine Coast. Toowoomba at the campus co-working space. And one moment, my live feed is giving me feedback. Love the technology. We have Rockhampton that will be taking place at Startup Rocky, and Gladstone, Longreach, and Townsville will be confirming their event locations very shortly. So, what happens at these events? You have 46 hours. The challenges that are presented by our sponsoring agencies and entities are officially revealed at 7 p.m. on the Friday evening. This is challenges that could be getting you to look at certain data sets, solve certain interesting challenges, or do something interesting with data. It's all looking at the reuse of government open data. Throughout this, you'll be creating a project page as a team. A team can be any size from 1 to 10. The more people in it, however, means you have to share the prize money a little bit further. So choose your team members well. Throughout this event, you'll create a proof of concept. We aren't looking for solutions. We're looking for interesting ways of exploring what the data is to looking at the challenges. We also look at getting you to create a video pitch which explains what your idea is so that people are able to play with it and view it. So, what is open data? Open data is anything that is available online that is free where possible. The Queensland government has over 20,000 data sets available on their open data portal. We also then have the Australian government, Brisbane City Council, Logan, Redlands, Sunshine Coast, all different government agencies at all different levels releasing open data. This data is to be published in open formats, so it's freely accessible and should be in a computer readable format so that you can actually play with it. Data that's in images, PDFs, it's not very helpful, but we can use it, but we prefer not to. The open data is generally licensed with a Creative Commons or similar licensing so that it can be shared and reused, mixed into different projects and made into whatever you want. We have a number of different data portals that within Australia. The leading one is the federal government one, which is data.gov.au. This data portal is used by federal agencies, many state-based agencies in different states and territories, as well as local city councils. We also then have the Queensland data portal, data.qld.gov.au. This is where all of the Queensland government's data is stored, with over 20,000 data sets and climbing at the moment. We also have two data portals that are created by our local councils in Queensland. These is the Brisbane City Council one and the Sunshine Coast Council. Any of these data portals are free to use when you're coming up with your problem and trying to find data that is meaningful to use. We welcome anyone to use any of this data for it, and also any data from any other data portals within Australia. You can also use international data to make your application into something that has a even larger reach than what is Australia. So who can actually compete in GovHack? We welcome anyone to compete. You can be an individual, you can be a group, you can have any mixture of skills. We welcome designers, programmers, problem solvers, facilitators, storytellers. Anyone is able to come along and participate. A group that is solely programmers or a group that is solely designers probably won't get the best for this. You need a mixture of skills to do well, so that you can apply everything that you have learnt for this. Any age is welcome. Our youngest competitor for this competition was 4 years old. They competed at Logan 2 years ago, and they ended up taking away the second place for the best youth application Australia-wide. We have competitors of all ages, ranging up to a gentleman in their 70s competing last year at our Ipswich node. Anyone is welcome to come, and especially you. Please come along to one of these events to join us. So, our events, we have multiple different types of events. We have official and node events. These are events that are organized and ran by GovHack volunteers. For the most part, everyone in GovHack is a volunteer. We lend our time to supporting this activity and making the best space for you to come to compete in these competitions for free. At our official events, we have a few versions of these. We have an all ages event. Anyone is welcome to come. However, anyone under the age of 18 requires a parent or guardian to be present at the location as well. We also then have a special youth node where young people are able to come and participate without their parent or guardian, as it is a safe space where we have appropriate supervisors with child minding and child supervision in attendance. We also then have our maker nodes, so you can come in and make stuff, or well, break stuff. It depends on what you're doing. So this is where you can build physical things. You can use 3D printers, laser cutters, CNC machines, anything that the space has available. So these official and node events can be mixed and match. We have a number of these that will take place in multiple. Our Brisbane location consists of an official node as well as a youth node, where we'll have between 9 and 5, any youth participant is able to attend without a parent or guardian present. We then have community events. These are not run by GovHack, but they're run by the community and promoted by GovHack. Our Ipswich event this year will be one of these. They are running out of Fire Station 101, opening up their space for anyone to come along. I'll be joining in there on this Saturday for part of the time, while I make my grand tour around Queensland, visiting as many places as I can. But some events are run purely by community. We then have, new this year, the kitchen table events. This is a compete anywhere you like, anywhere you live. If you aren't able to make it to one of our physical locations, You're welcome to compete at home with a bunch of friends around the kitchen table to come up with your proof of concept. This is especially important in Australia and Queensland due to how distant and remote we are. So we're welcoming anyone to compete. You don't have to travel 10 hours to the nearest physical location. Compete where you can. So, whatever you're into, there is a hack that you can participate in. We have a place for you to join in. What will you make? A hack can be anything that does something and makes it better. So you will see the data that comes in, generally a whole lot of tabular data that is generally hard to read and hard to understand, and you want to make it into something interesting. Making sure that you produce something that is utilizing the open data. It can be open data that's used in any clever or creative ways. So there are a lot of past winners to check out. If you go to our 2017 winners page on GovHack.org, you'll be able to check out some of the previous winners, which I'm going to show you some now. So we have our winning project from last year, which was a youth project. This was done by a group of about 13 to 16-year-olds that traveled to Brisbane from Hervey Bay. They looked at creating a application that explored the a barrier reef and the ecosystem in the space to see how it was changing over time. This won a prize in our Queensland state competition for this. We then have our next biz.space. This was a project that was at our Gold Coast event, which looked at ways for local small business owners to explore their business to find new locations where they could open. It worked by identifying similar market spaces where people had their current location to see where the best exploration and enlarging would take place. We then have a physical project, Mother Nature. This was a makerspace event that occurred at the University of Queensland 2 years ago. It looked at visualizing the air quality and waste and heavy metals around Queensland in a visual form. There was a whole lot of data that was being ingested into this, and it would breathe heavily depending on the amount of gas in the air. So the harder it was for you to breathe if you live there, the harder this statue would wheeze. So it would put a human touch on the data. So what do you want to do if you want to compete? Registrations will open on the 16th of August. This will take place on 2018.hackspace.govhack.org, the same place where you've registered to participate this evening. Anyone is welcome to participate. You can join in at any location that you are able to do, or you can join in on the remote the kitchen table events. We then have ways that you can actually join in and participate with other people. This will be through Slack. We have slack.govhack.org. You can self-register to participate here. This will also be a place where we'll have our mentors online throughout the competition to get involved. Mentors will be at the events, so you can speak to them. For the mentors in the room, can you wave your hand? We have one mentor at the moment, two mentors. Within Queensland, we should have over about 20 mentors that will be participating physically. We then have our national agency mentors that will be coming to join us. Those that aren't able to physically join us will be joining us on Slack throughout the weekend. To learn more about this and what you can do, head to govhack.org/handbook. This has information on finding out what you need to do, along with govhack.org/competition/participating. Find out more about all this. So, quick sneak peek at what is going to be occurring. We're making some changes. Last year, we had people entering every single challenge, even if they weren't particularly, their project wasn't particularly related to the challenge. So we're making sure that you focus in on your project. Focus your ideas. There will be a maximum of 5 national challenges that any project is able to enter, along with 5 regional challenges. So this will get you to focus your ideas into something that is meaningful. But we're making it slightly different. You're going to be watching the clock for when these challenges take place. You'll get to lock in these challenges as the event goes on. You could lock them all in at the beginning, or you could lock them in over time. It provides a little bit of gamification to this. People won't be able to see what challenges you've locked in until a certain time passes. Once this time passes, that challenge is locked in. Everyone will be able to see it, and you'll be able to get an idea of what other people are targeting, so that you can see how much competition you have going in for that particular challenge. There'll be 5 checkpoints throughout the weekend. Each checkpoint will lock in a national and a regional challenge. Once these pass, you're locked in for that challenge. We're also opening up judging to anyone. We will have a People's Choice event for this. Anyone is welcome to judge the projects that are entered. You can rank them based on how useful you think they are, how creative they are, how inspirational they are. And we will be welcoming the People's Choice to the State Awards, which will be taking place at the State Library of Queensland at a date to be announced during the competition. We'll also have a National People's Choice Award, which will be announced at the Red Carpet Awards in the middle of November. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. Our leading sponsor, the Queensland Government, who is sponsoring the Premier and the State Awards prize. We also then have our gold, silver and bronze sponsors, where we have Logan City Council, Redland City Council, Livingston Shire Council, Griffith University, the University of Queensland and Central Queensland University. More sponsors are coming online all the time, and these are visible from our the GovHack website. So, what are you waiting for? Glory awaits. Make sure to come in. We have real medals. If you come in, you can win one of these real medals. These aren't just a fancy image. These are real. So, find out more information at govhack.org. I would also now like to welcome up Jamie Leach from ODI Australia Network.
Thanks, Jason. The Open Data Institute of Australia has been around for almost 4 years now. We were originally born out of a UK government initiative where our headquarters still sits in London. There are 26 nodes spread across 20 countries, and the Australian network is actually based here in Fortitude Valley in the precinct. So the Open Data Institute's mission is to hit the right button. Yep, so it's to connect, equip and inspire people to innovate with data. And this really speaks to the ethos of GovHack. In fact, I'm sitting here thinking, maybe I've got a solution that I might want to get involved. But just a little bit about the Open Data Institute, because for anybody that's looking at creating a startup, you're probably sitting there going, well, what do these people do for, what can we do for them? Government, we work with government all levels, from federal to state to local government. We're the peak advocating body for open data between government, industry, research and community. So when we talk about open data, sometimes it confuses people because there's lots of terms. We've got big data, shared data, open data, privacy always comes up. And I just like to say to people, this is the data spectrum. All data falls on it. It's just what part from left to right that you're actually sitting. The characteristics of data doesn't change. It should always be timely, clean, complete. And to Jason's point earlier, open data has to be human understandable and machine readable to really, truly qualify. So the data spectrum is something that we often take organisations through when they're going through a bit of a data transformation, or a digital transformation is another term you hear. And in 2018, these are the strategic priorities of the Institute. We are looking at different ways to advocate for open data. Really, I'm on the bandwagon about quality over quantity. Really working on the storytelling of open data and unlocking the value of those data sets. To Jason's point earlier, the Queensland Government produces so many open data sets. And sadly, they don't often get to find out how many people are using them and what they're using them for. So that ability to storytell and find those success stories is very, very important. And that's one of the ways that GovHack really opens their eyes to what the potential of these data sets are. Community is always at the centre of everything to do with open data. It's about transparency, it's about access, thought leadership and setting standards, and that really leads on to the framework of ODI from a global perspective. These are different services, different courses, workshops. These are all the things that we can do as part of an institute. There's always a bit of rigour around an institute and the programs that they provide. But in addition, I do a lot of work with startups, particularly based in the precinct. I find myself doing a lot of business mentoring because of my life experience personally. We talk to startups about the types of data that they need. Everybody wants open data because it's the right price. It's free. But there's also sometimes a downside with getting open data, particularly if you need a guaranteed timeliness, a repeat publishing of those data sets. I spend a lot of time explaining the difference between different types of data. I do a lot of lobbying for startups to actually gain access to that data. So if you were to come up with a solution, if you were to win, for instance, and you decide you do want to turn it into a business idea, that's something that the Institute may be able to help with. Coaching of quality over quantity, and then the storytelling, which is really around global success of open data. So in a nutshell, that's what the Open Data Institute does, and very proud to be involved with GovHack again for another year.
Thank you. And some information on how you can get in contact with them. I would also like to then welcome up Celeste Alcaraz from Griffith University, Logan City Council and Redland City Council to present some information about Logan involvement and Redland and Griffith.
Hello, Celeste Alcaraz. I also have Paulette Oldfield here as well, Logan City Council, and we're here to represent the region. Colette Torrance, Principal Advisor of Strategic Partnerships, could not make it this evening, so this is us on the consortium's behalf. So just to... Right? Right. It's right hand. Okay, so we were just here to provide a little insight about the Redlands and Logan region and a little bit about our collaborative as well. So we consider ourselves creative, connected and citizen-led communities. There are about 500,000 people who reside in this regional belt between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So we're looking at about 320,000 in Logan. I think it's around 155 in the Redlands region. It's one of the fastest growing regions in southeast Queensland. There are 217 different cultures, so extremely diverse. There are actually 70 suburbs in Logan, and I needed an update this afternoon because I had 63, but there's now 70. So that just shows you how, I guess, not only diverse, but how dynamic this region is. There are over 1,000 parks, and why I make this statement, this regional belt is known for its green space, and therefore sustainability is key to this region. Distinctive character both in the Logan and Redlands, and as stated, committed to sustainable communities. Now, a little bit about how Logan City Council, Griffith University and Redlands City Council came along into one collaborative. We're part of the Queensland Government's Advancing Regional Innovation Program, which brings the 3 lead partners, that's the councils and Griffith University, and 8 other partners from the region. We like to consider ourselves as innovative, dynamic and citizen-led. And this is an extremely important component, not only for the councils, but also the university. We like to consider ourselves a civic university, which is extremely influential in the long run, particularly, as I stated, we are the fastest growing region in southeast Queensland. Our areas of interest are in employment and education, which is which is extremely important for the growth of any region, but also statewide and nationally as well. Big focus on improving business capability, so putting the right businesses in the right places, and you need good data and clean data to be informed of those places. Accessibility as well, how to access that data easily. Sustainable service planning is of course of interest to us, considering the population growth that is going to happen over the next 10 to 20 years. But if I reflect on Redlands, Redlands has a high component of, has an ageing population. Therefore, health and disability services and how we can look after ageing in place is extremely important to the council in that region. So GovHack for Logan Redlands, where are we holding it? And you're probably wondering, Kingston Butter Factory, what is this? And I'll get Paulette to provide more on this. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've literally been in the job with Logan City Council for a week. I have been involved in hackathons in my capacity with eHealth Queensland, and I can just thoroughly recommend being involved in a hackathon. And I think I see another hack face in the crowd as well. So hackathons are they're not just fun, but they're you can get a lot out of these events, and I just encourage you to bring as many people as you can along to GovHack. The Kingston Butter Factory is a new innovation hub that's been touted by Logan City Council as being a place to bring innovation to Logan. But it's a space, and that space is probably going to be finished around about the end of 2019. What we really, and I've been working with Celeste and a group of other very dedicated startups and entrepreneurs in the Logan area to inspire some interest in startups and entrepreneurship and really bringing business into Logan. So I don't think it's any surprise that Brisbane and the greater Brisbane area is growing pretty rapidly. And I'm a long-term Logan resident. I've been living there for about 30 years, and I believe that Logan's in the centre of that, as well as Redlands as well. So I'm really excited about GovHack. Again, I've only been here a week, but I'm still excited about hackathons. Please bring as many people as you can along on this journey. I don't think they'll regret it, and looking forward to seeing you all.
So the other thing we wanted to herald is what data sets would be available. Of course, your local government data sets will be available to you. We also have an initiative out of Griffith University Logan campus. It's the Regional Innovation Data Lab, and we have the director, Dr. Tom Verhelst, at the helm, a very approachable and a very cluey guy with data. He's one of your major mentors who's part of this challenge. And I don't understand all this data myself, but just an example of some data sets that are available for you through the Data Lab and the Auran database, which is Australia's urban intelligence network. There's about 3,500 data sets from around 90 data providers, so there's a robust amount of information there. Am I going the right way? Yes. So just an example of what's available to you if you come and I try to hack some data and find some solutions for this amazing region. We're looking forward to seeing you. So thank you and look forward to the hacking ahead.
Thank you very much. I would also like to then remind everyone, registration is open on the 16th of August. Please get registered. We will have registrations open all the way up until the competition begins. So you can register right up until the day of the event, but you may need to get in fast. Some of our sites sell out very quickly. So they are free, but they sell out quickly. And finding out more information, if you go to govhack.org, you can always find out information. Sign up to our mailing list if you aren't already subscribed, so that we can send you important information about this. Watch the national account on Twitter, the GovHack AU, as well as following the hashtag of GovHack. I would get you to have some food now, but my food is still on the way. That will be here very shortly. So, in the meantime, I would like people to have a little chat about what sort of data interests you. We have some data mentors, data owners on site this evening to have a chat. If you own data, are involved with data at a local, state level, can you raise your hand so people can see you? Please have a chat to them. Have a chat, starting to look at forming some teams. Teams will be registered on the competition weekend. So have a chat and I will chase up some food for you. Thank you very much. I always do forget that part. Does anyone have any questions? The pizza's coming.